How's everything been going? Good? Yeah? Have you done this stuff before or no?
No way.
It's like on the job trial. It's not so hard. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Yay, Ashley. Hi. I won't. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Maybe people can help like us.
Oh, still getting late.
What is that?
Just old shit I haven't thrown out.
Don't put it near me. I got work to do. I don't want your. I'm already 10
Me?
steps
That you said?
beyond.
No.
Oh, look at this. Hey,
This stuff. So I said the exact same thing.
that's amazing.
I thought he was replacing. No. 5 minutes.
That's really funny because I kept saying, I gotta make sure I text her, but I saw your name on the butters list, so I was like, I know she's gonna know because I haven't seen you in a minute.
Yeah, I have no idea. Okay.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
can
right, I'm
do
not
it
supposed to be nice to
either
people.
Yeah.
Friendly.
I can do it before the next meeting though.
Cut it out.
I
know,
can't
right?
I can't vote.
So what pool
Oh,
are you
okay.
referring to?
Can I do
Oh,
it?
sorry.
Are they here?
Oh, like the
How
kid,
do I
like
go in? Like,
It's an
I saw there's
inflatable kiddie
notices
pool.
on the
It's the exact same one
Okay.
that Hollis Rec has.
That's awesome.
So it's me sitting in there after running a mile and just go, yeah, it was horrible.
But
I didn't like any of it. Yeah, it's me sitting in there after running a mile and going, and then no one. That was exactly what it was.
do you pee in the pool?
Oh. My kid
What
probably
is
does.
may I? What is this?
It's the forget-me-not.
Oh. Is it like you give money and they give you that, or did they
Yeah,
give
you
you
give a
that?
donation. and
So
you-
here's
Got
the
it.
issue: is
Like
that
a
all the stuff
coffee,
on
ever seen a
the
coffee?
website doesn't update.
There's something that
That's
the
why
VFW
when I originally did
does
that
that, they have
additional
coffee
for
to raise money.
storage
And they
thing,
go to,
I thought it was on the website.
soldiers'
And
homes.
figured out after the first meeting, oh wait.
No, Greg.
No.
No, Gregory.
And
You
they
guys are
still have-
bumming.
So
We'll probably have. Which side would be better to move over?
yeah, so we tried.
I'll take this whole table.
We tried
I
to
got no
do
problem
it,
with that.
have it literally.
Bring these guys over.
Andrew,
Who's going which way?
one over from Waterboro.
These guys or me?
Yeah,
Just
this is Mike.
around.
In person, I've seen you on television.
Makes sense.
And if I have
When the
to,
bathroom, everything went south. So we were
Yeah,
across the
okay.
street now.
They're gonna be able to see your eyes if we can get a little closer. Oh,
that's gonna be very
oh
important.
my God, no!
come
Can't.
on,
No! Oh my God! No! Gross.
And then additionally, we
Ah, it does. Yeah, it smells really good. Champagne toast. Yes, it's my favorite. Oh, is this on camera yet? Please. I don't want that at all. How are you doing? You're really jumping right in. You're.
I don't know that. I'm drinking from the fire.
Yeah, but I mean, I know that you're. It's nice to meet you as well.
So that was
I
the
know
unofficial
that
one
you,
that
you're
Paul brought over
at
from somewhere
things.
else.
I'm guessing
You
no.
know, whenever.
So, but he made it.
The way that they're all rolling in closer together.
Like that left and he was pretty much.
Well, I
So
mean,
it was kind of, it wasn't like very much. So he knew.
awesome, awesome. Yes, no, please, not the least exciting of the bunch. Trust me.
Fantastic. That's where Angela brought their hers from.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
The Mansion Road
Well, I don't know if that's
application in
good.
here.
Mike, how are
Yeah,
you?
it would be fantastic.
Okay.
Oh,
I
cool.
agree. Thank you.
I don't want to be responsible for this. All right.
Perfect.
Glasses. Bet you I don't have a pen.
I can share it. Okay. So we're not putting on the Adirondack. Yes, we were. Okay. I did see the email. I thought they were. Okay. How you doing, Butch? Over here.
Welcome to the Wednesday, June 25th, 2025 Town of Hollis Planning Board meeting. I will call this meeting to order with 4 members of the planning board in attendance. I thought Danielle was here. Yeah. Okay. So
Occasionally, yeah.
maybe I should have waited. 4.5. Planning board members, let's get started. We've got some business to take care of tonight. First, I'll do a roll call from my right.
Nick Hebert.
Tom Witkowski.
Heather Sullivan.
Danielle Bradbury.
Butch Gannett.
Tonight, our chair, Greg McPherson, is not with us. He is on vacation. And so I will be chairing the meeting. First order of business is correspondence. Everybody have their packet? Looks like we have some correspondence from Saco River Corridor Commission. We see these now. I mean, I think we've been seeing them every meeting. Feel free to read through. And if, we know that some of these projects will potentially come in front of us at some point. Feel free to reach out to Saco River Corridor Commission if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll just wait until they make their way here. And that is a good portion of the packet. There is a public hearing going on right now on one of these projects, so that's a challenge. Next item up is draft minutes of our meeting on 6/11/2025. Want to take a look through that and see if there's any changes. These look fantastic.
Well done.
I like how you bolded out the votes. So much better than when I was doing it. So much better. When folks are through reading, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Looking for a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Any suggestions? Then on that, I am going to refrain from voting unless it's a tie in Greg and Paul's
Memory.
not memory. So I don't like to do everybody say yay. So I'm doing Nick. How do you vote?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Awesome. Minutes are approved. Next up on the agenda, do we have anyone here from the Code Enforcement Office? Well then, would you like to give us a report, or are you here for the new business?
Yeah.
Okay. How are things going at Code Enforcement Office? You have to get on the mic.
Yeah, it's been really busy.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, sorry, Dwayne Hanson, code officer for Hollis.
Thank you. So I haven't seen you in a little while. Things are busy.
Yeah, yeah.
What's
A
the
lot of small projects, you know, decks, renovations, additions, new single-family homes. That's getting in, of course, big subdivision. Another one in the wings.
are you seeing like a uptick in single family homes in general? Like, is that, would you call it like a trend, or is it just like, oh, it's the early summer?
It just seems to be busier this year than it was last year. Yeah.
Interesting to see.
Yeah.
How that goes.
Right.
Awesome. Well, I hope
any
you're.
ADUs?
Oh yeah.
A lot of ADUs?
A lot of interest in that.
Are people building them, or are they just talking about it? Like, have we
Both.
moved into the
Both.
we're actually putting them in?
Yeah, both, because you have that option of detached or attached.
And
you
they
have
just made some changes. to
Yes.
just
the sprinkler system.
yeah, there's going to be some things that we'll all need to
Right.
do to put that stuff in place.
Yeah, and people are still, they're very interested in it. They inquire about it, but it's still hard for them. I try to give them, people that want it, send out an email, because they don't understand that one of the stipulations is you got to share the driveway. You know, your well's got to be, not the well, but your septic's got to be sufficient to handle 2 homes. If not, you can put one in, or you can share and redo your design, or have it redone. You can share the same well, but people are finding some of that hard.
Maybe we should, if you want to like share like those common things that, and then we can make like a flyer, or make, you know, we can a document that can be available online or
Sure.
in town hall. Then, I mean, I know you like to visit with people, but I'm guessing you're probably very busy in your visits right now.
Yeah.
So something that people can have if they're just starting to think about it, and
Yeah.
maybe then you don't have to. I can tell that you've had to say these things a couple times, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe getting it in a document or online, maybe that'll
Sure.
give people a chance to think a little bit more about what they want before they come in.
Yeah.
We always want you to come in. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But
Right,
sometimes,
right.
you know, I like to get my information early and
Yeah.
like figure stuff out, what I think I want to do, and then go talk. So.
And it's like you're saying, it's better too to have the information and read it at your own leisure instead of. I recently had some people come in last year. I told them the information, but in the months passing, they forgot. And they designed their ADU a little bit too big. Luckily, it's not at that process yet, but the builder, sent in the packet, and I reviewed it, and I said, this is way over. And so it's good to have that information. I can send it out and let them fall back on that.
Are you noticing that there's a lot of people that are wanting to put in so you know that we've struggled with the concept of does the owner have to reside?
Right.
Like, has anyone mentioned anything like that?
At first, people were thinking about that. If they had a piece of land, they're like, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to live there, but I want to rent, both of them out, build a house and do an ADU. But now that the state statute there, so either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for taking time to share with us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What's going on over at the code office? Is it warm over in that building?
Terribly. It was 88 degrees after the air conditioner was on all day.
Goodness.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine that the new building is going to be way more comfortable.
It's even cooler now just going in there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's beautiful in
That's
there.
funny. Thanks, Dwayne. Do we have anyone from the select board or any town committees? So we will move on to old business. We will just very quickly in our packets, we've got some email. what I put in here in blue, that has not been sent out yet. So it's something that we can talk about a little bit later, probably during workshop period, because I'm not sure that we are ready to. We have to decide what we want to do about the vote, about the note, about not being on. If we want to do something, like we've got to decide if we want to ask for something, or if we want to just let it go.
Well, we've got to deal with some changes that are being
Yes.
forced down on that,
Yep.
with this latest, state law.
Yes. And I think that.
I think that's the last.
We
last
did
part
include
of
it, and
that.
we figured that's perfect for
that's-
workshop
It's
too.
gonna take a little study.
Yep. So we will just move straight on into our new business. Tonight, we have the very first view of a proposed subdivision. This is the sketch plan part of the planning board review. We do multiple levels of review, depending on the size of the project, and this is the first one. This is a sketch plan. If you go into your subdivision, or if you go into our subdivision ordinances, there's an entire section that outlines what the sketch plan part of the process is. And so that's what we're gonna do tonight, is we are going to hear from the applicant and take a peek at the plans. And then, I don't know, it depends, I think how far we get on whether we will actually vote on a review tonight or not. So, where is our applicant? Come on up. Oh, hiding in the back there.
Good evening, Andy Morrill, civil engineer from BH2M, here representing Van Hertel Senior. This is a 72-acre parcel off of Mansion Road, zoned RR2. Roughly 58 acres are in Hollis and 14 acres are in Waterboro. The applicant is looking to do a conventional subdivision. The plan I've got here in front of you is a little bit different. I provided some kind of colors to it. I have some copies that I can hand out to you guys if it's easier.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Hmm? Yeah.
Give me enough, I can hand you that on this one.
Yeah. What do you mean?
'Cause I was looking for that. I couldn't find it.
So knowing this was a sketch plan review, we tried to show what the full build-out on this parcel could look like at one point. The applicant does not plan to do that much development at this point. What the applicant is looking to do, and that's what I've shown on this plan, is, so the red line that you're looking at on that plan is the town line
Okay.
between Waterboro and Hollis.
And we were actually expecting someone from Waterboro tonight, so I'm actually surprised not to see her.
Yeah, I don't believe Angela's here.
Yeah, I didn't see her.
I talked to her, our office talked to her on the phone earlier and kind of explained this to her, that there wasn't a whole lot going on in Waterboro, so I don't know if she changed her mind and decided not to come or not, but.
Okay.
So what's shown in the yellow is what the applicant is planning to design and permit now. That is a 14-lot subdivision with about 2,300 linear feet of roadway. So the gray area is the road. What's shown with kind of the crosshatch within the yellow, that is what will be built as part of phase 1. So if you look at the lots, all of the lots are labeled with either a 1-, 2-, or 3-. Lots, phase 1 is labeled 1-, phase 2 is obviously 2-, and so on. No work is proposed in Waterboro. Looking to develop those 14 lots. The total density for the parcel is spelled out in note number 16. The parcel can support 24 units in Hollis. As I mentioned, what we're looking to do right now on the plan that you're looking at is develop lots 1-1 to 1-14. So a 14-lot conventional subdivision. Phase 2 could be 5 years from now, it could be 10 years from now. I'm not sure when that will happen. If phase Phase 2 of the development is what's shown as 7 lots, 1,200 linear feet of road. Phase 3 is the final 2 lots and about 700 feet of roadway. So, this being kind of an introduction to the board, we wanted to show you, our fear was if we came forward with just the 14 lot subdivision on the plan and a bunch of remaining land, you guys would say, well, what are you gonna do with the remaining land? So we wanted to give you some perspective of eventually what this parcel could be developed into. So our intention is to develop those 14 lots, that 2,300 feet of road. Lots will be served by overhead electric, drilled wells, subsurface wastewater. There's a stream on site. That's kind of what that dark line is towards the beginning of the road. That was delineated by Fraggle Rock Environmental. They also did the wetlands on site. So we'll certainly be getting some Army Corps and DEP permitting to cross those natural resources. But you know, tonight's a great opportunity for us to introduce the project, but also a great opportunity for you guys to give us some direction before we've dove into the design and spent a lot of time and effort to move this forward. So we're anxious to get any direction you guys would be willing to give us tonight. And with that, Madam Chairman, I'll throw it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So our order of business is to follow it's not the goal.
6.3 of the subdivision.
So at a minimum, we need to go through the sketch plan submission and make sure that everything was submitted properly. Yeah, I mean, I think that's where we start. So we do have, oh, I forgot to mention, I apologize. We do have lots of members of the public here. We will have you guys speak if you would like to. We highly encourage everyone who wants to give their opinion. We're going to do what I anticipate is going to be multiple public hearings for this subdivision. It's just baked into the regulations. Then you're on a town line, so we've got to figure out how we're going to work with Waterboro, and that could mean that we do public hearings together as well. I'm not sure what Waterboro has to make a decision on whether they want to be hands-on participating with the review process, or if they, the only other time that I've done one, that I've been on the board, was we actually said it was mostly in, I think it was Dayton or Lyman, I don't even remember.
That was Leamington.
It was?
So we had one on the Leamington line, but all the undeveloped land was in Hollis.
And
So we just kind of did a hands-off.
Yeah.
We did it was virtual meeting. So that's how long ago that was. But we did, and we just kind of said, hey, it's your guys' deal. Keep our best interest in mind.
So I don't know what Waterboro, and we'll see.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Yep.
So.
And I sent this plan to Angela in Waterboro, so she has this kind of colored plan. I wanted to make sure she had it as well. So.
Yep. Awesome. Perfect. Does before we go through the plan itself, does anyone have any questions?
I have a question about lot 14.
Okay.
The building envelope is way in the back of the lot.
Correct.
There is a hammerhead there, which is really the beginning of the road.
Mhm.
So where's the driveway going to be to get to the back of that lot? It
Yeah.
can't come off at hammerhead.
Right. I anticipate the driveway for lot 14 to be kind of before that stream on the right-hand side of that lot, if you will, on the easterly side of that lot,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of bypass that stream and get access to the back of that parcel.
Okay, it looks as if you have some wetlands to cross.
There are some wetlands in there, yep, but there's plenty of room to get a driveway in there and not impact those. But certainly there'll be some permitting for work within 75 feet of that stream with the DEP and the Army Corps, so
All right.
that'll be part of our permitting.
Well, let's just think when we when we get done here, we need to make a note on the plan, no driveway off the Hammerhead.
Okay.
So it's all well and good that we say that and everybody agrees to it, and then they put a driveway in and they start parking cars there, and you don't have a turnaround for emergency vehicles.
Yeah.
I'm happy to put a note on the plan that says that we
Yep.
won't allow any driveways off the Hammerhead.
I mean, it looks like it's gonna be close there in lot 9 and 8. But I would suppose you can get off the very last part of the road, you can get driveways off there.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna say there's a requirement, is 50 feet for the Hammerhead,
Yes.
that if you put driveways off of there, they couldn't be any closer to the Hammerhead itself than the 50-foot requirement.
Right.
You don't understand what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep. That makes sense. Yep.
That's all I have right now. When he goes to do his second, third page, he's gonna have to come back in
Yes. Correct.
for an update.
Yep. Yeah, there'll be, obviously we'll have to get re-permitting with the town, we'll have to get re-permitting with the state and Army Corps and DEP, so that's ultimately, that's why the project's being split up the way it is, from the state level, so.
The one thing I had, which does make a difference now, is the end of that road that goes in by lot 14, there was no hammerhead down that road, but that's not gonna be a road, so.
Correct.
Are you talking about the right-of-way, Butch?
Yeah,
Are you
Yeah,
talking about
I think
the
he's talking
right-
about the one going to phase 3.
I'm talking,
Oh,
yeah,
got it.
it goes
Between
into
la-
phase 3,
Yep.
that goes up to the Waterboro line.
Got it, yep.
Obviously, if we develop that, we'd have to have a hammerhead at the end of that, which I haven't shown on this
True,
sketch plan,
right.
but yeah. Yep.
So we can,
I don't have anything.
yeah. So I think what makes sense for us to do right now is to go into, it's not a public hearing that I have to go into, is it? We'll welcome comments from the public. Anybody else that would like to speak up on the project? Don't be shy.
Now is your time.
Yes, of course. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Sean McGinley. I live on Deerwander Road, and on Phase 2 abuts my property. I was wondering, is there gonna be a plan for a fence or anything when that Phase 2 comes in, or? Because we got a stream going on our backside of the property, and if the kids are out there playing, am I gonna get sued or anything if they get hurt on my property?
Would you prefer a fence?
I would prefer a fence.
Which lot is you?
Sean McGinley?
It's over in phase 2.
So bottom right.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And my neighbor Matt, he couldn't make it tonight. He would like a fence going along his too.
Yep. All right, you want to add that to the list of
Yeah. But if we were gonna say you have to put in a fence at phase 2,
No,
then
we-
we'd have to say,
Yeah,
All right.
that's a bigger conversation.
yeah, definitely. I mean, what,
I mean, I don't mind saying, historically, boards have only required fencing along when it abuts commercial stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a very hard thing for the board to be able to justify requiring a fence between your property and your neighbor's property.
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that you can't put up a fence.
Yeah, we can't. It doesn't mean we can't ask them if they want to put up a fence. Just we
And if
don't
it-
have any means to require them to.
And if it doesn't, not required, or if it doesn't go through, what would I have to do? Put no trespassing signs along my property line?
So you should be able to put correct me if I'm wrong, you should be able to put a fence up on the back of your property regardless.
With the right permit.
Of course. Is there fence permits?
Yeah, 7 feet and above.
Fantastic. So 7 feet and above, if it's under 7 feet, there's no permit.
So there's definitely, our area of expertise is not how do you protect your property, but that there's information like that out there that will tell you if you have to have. I don't know. It's not a town ordinance. How we don't have police, so we don't do anything with trespassing, right? But I mean, I think it's state law. It must be. I know, yeah, I've heard things, but I don't have any source that I could go to and say it's statute 321. I don't. But yeah, you're supposed to, if you put up no trespassing signs and they have to have a phone number on them. There's ways that you can protect yourself that aren't outrageously expensive, but those types of things are only as valuable as
Wait,
having a good neighbor.
you're talking about phase 2 of this thing,
Yeah, well,
which
but
may or may not come around.
right.
Yeah.
But if we are going to consider putting fencing in, we have to consider it in phase 1, not just phase 2.
Well, phase 2 would be a completely different thing to come to the meeting for, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It would. If we approve the project, what gets approved, the developer can't go beyond what has been approved.
Yeah, phase
So, like what Butch was saying, that sometimes that happened, or in the past it's happened that we didn't speak the conditions with enough detail, and a driveway ends up on a hammerhead. And we've worked really hard to tighten up the ordinances and also put a little teeth to them, I would say, so that there's less of an incentive to do something like try to encroach on the hammerhead. And there's, now, I think the town in general, it's not us that does it, but they do a better job at getting a bond and making sure that things are done properly. So that is one thing, but yes, there'll be multiple hearings just on this phase, and then it would be
Almost the same
it'd
phase.
be a new application, right? Yeah.
So when the second phase does come around, if it does come
Yeah.
around, it'll be almost the same exact process
Yeah.
again.
Okay.
Public hearings, site
Site
walks.
walks.
The
You
same,
get-
the same
you
type
get
of
a
thing that's
letter.
happening
Yeah.
for this one.
Okay, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. You guys didn't hear of anybody not getting letters, right? That's something that I always worry about. Did any neighbor say, we didn't get a letter? That's really good. That's awesome. Awesome. That's great. Oftentimes that we do hear that, so.
Come on, show the mic.
Does anyone else, would you like to come up and speak? Awesome. Please introduce yourself.
My name's Christine Wisniewski. I live on Deer Wander.
Hello.
I live right across from Wakefield and McKinley.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of houses in one area, and that's a lot of wells to be drilled. Also, the traffic right now with all the new houses being built. In front of my house is a speedway. I complained to the police, and because where Mansion Road is, a lot of cutting of the trees. The town did a lot of work to make it look safer, but now it's a straightaway. So now what they do, they gun their gas pedals in front of my house, and I have all this gas and stuff smelling now coming from my house. And I think I have to talk to the town. There's a maple tree, beautiful maple tree, and it's dying. I'm just worried about all those houses and all that traffic going down Deer Wander. Plus our poor post office. It's a little post office. And adding all those we have a hard time getting our mail now. We're gonna have to build a better post office and get more people to help the people out. Because the post office on our next door app, neighborhood app, someone took a photo and had boxes and boxes, and we're not getting our mail now for 3-4 days. So it has to be planned for this amount of people. So it's 24 houses. It's 48. Say 2 people. That's 48 people plus kids, plus cars. There's average 2 cars per household, plus their trucks and boats and all that stuff. Now that poor Mansion Road, I don't know. I haven't been around the corner lately, but I don't know if they tarred it or not. But last I knew it was dirt, unless they tarred it. But the thing is, there's no other way out. That's the only entrance to that 24 housing. And how much land are they going to have per house? You know, it's country living. And I thought, well, 12 houses would be cool because, you know, it would be okay because you have a little bit more land and stuff like that. That's a lot of houses. Plus, I don't know if I've not complained, but the town officer helped last year. I was getting a lot of flooding under my house because what happens is there's a stream that you don't see until it rains, heavy stream, and it goes between Wakefield. There's pine trees in Wakefield. And then the other people next door, but it comes from the distance behind the trees, and then it floods up and then goes underneath my driveway, and I built a little culvert so it could divert. But I found in my backyard I have a spring. The water comes from across the way underneath my property, and this spring I ended up digging a trench, and I have to figure out how to make the water constantly pours from across the way. And I don't know if anybody realized how much water is coming from that area. So anyways, the traffic is a major concern. Right now, my security camera goes off every couple minutes. The cars going by back and forth. And so I don't know how we deal with it. Not fix it or control that. And I was just worried there's only one road, one exit going onto Mansion Road for all those cars. It's for 24 people, there's only one road. So if there's an emergency or something, I don't know. And if there's a fire, a long time ago, there was a fire that came through and burnt the whole area. So I don't know, make sure there's something you could protect the houses with for fire. That's a lot of people in one little section.
So all these types of proposals, they go to Chief Young, and he also reviews them and gives his opinion on what is good and what could be done better. So we will look forward to that as the project moves forward.
Yeah. But somebody could look underneath.
Pardon?
When there's a heavy rain, there is a stream that appears, and it comes across the property. So I don't know if they could see that underground waterway that's happening. But also I was concerned about the number of wells that we put in. That's 24 wells. So people claim about Palm Spring, but I'm at 24 wells in front of where we live. It's gonna suck up a lot of water. So
wouldn't the wells help with the extra water? What's that? Is that a very unsophisticated question to ask?
Well, we can ask for a hydrological study, show the flow of the water off the property, where it affects, and so forth. And that can be part of remediation, can be part of the project.
Yeah, the water is really deep in the ground. It's not the top water. So. Yeah.
And that road the Mansion Road is paved up there. I don't imagine it comes up to where this road is going to come off, but it will be if this development is approved. That road will be brought up to standards, at least as far as that road with no name right now.
And Mansion is still a private road. Is Mansion still a private road, or is it a town road?
Yeah, that's a town.
but I know it's paved.
It's not all paved.
Yeah, it's not all paved. The whole thing's not paved.
No, no.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I know it's proposed 2 for 24, but you only get, right now, put 12 up, 12 houses, but like I said, our post office can't handle the mail now for everybody. So maybe something in the future to help the post office out. You know, the plan for the future for this expansion, I guess, it's a lot of people.
Well, we don't, the postal service is the federal government, that's not Hollis, so we don't really have any say over the size of the post office or how they're staffed. That's federal.
The size of the building? 'Cause
I mean, I don't,
Is it, I don't know, is it
I-
the post office people, the size of the building, or who?
I would assume so. I mean, I've never
I don't
had to
know.
do anything with the
I
post
heard they
office.
have one person delivering all the
Yeah,
mail
it's for
for
staff, but
Hollis,
the
so I
building's
think
really
it's a
small.
staffing issue right
And
now.
the photo was sent, they have packages up to the
Well,
freaking
that's nothing
ceiling
that
and
we have any
everything.
kind of control over.
We have no
we
control, yeah.
can't control the
Yeah.
post office, unfortunately.
Oh.
They just need people to apply. I just heard there's one mail carrier right now for the whole town.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was worried
if
about.
anybody wants to apply to the post office, I'll advertise for them. Go apply.
Well, thanks for listening about the
Of
traffic.
course. Thank you for coming out. Would anyone else like to give their thoughts on the proposal, or on the sketch plan, sorry? Anybody on Zoom?
Nope, got one more person here.
Oh, come on up.
Hi, I'm Christina McGinley, 751 Deer Wander. I do have to agree with Christine with the traffic because that is a sharp corner. Now we're adding all of these houses. We're adding children that like to play, and you see it all the time, or people that like to walk. So what would happen, you put all of those houses in over on Mansion, and the kids just happen to be walking in that sharp corner, somebody gets hit. I mean, we've already had plenty of accidents there as it is. And people that are coming and going past Christine's house to go around to head to the other part of Deer Wander are flying and still pushing people off the road.
Is the speed limit too high, or people are speeding?
No, right there it says 25 going around the corner, and nobody does it. So I do have to agree with Christine. It's gonna cause an issue right there.
We don't do traffic surveys, do we, for?
Yeah, it can be a traffic study and it can look at that
Consider it.
intersection.
I mean, they've put those, like, things for speed traps, showing the speed and everything else, and then having those wires cross the road. In all honesty, it doesn't matter on Deer Wander. Deer Wander is a racetrack.
So Deer Wanderer, it's not Mansion that is the.
No, Deer Wander is a racetrack, and then when you got cars coming off Mansion, I mean, come on now. It's a yield, it's not a stop. They never had a stop sign for Mansion going on to Deer Wander, it's always been yield. Yep. I'm just looking out for the people, I'm looking out for children, I'm looking out for just the racetrack, is basically what it is.
Stop be DOT.
I think you have somebody on Zoom.
I'm not sure.
We'll let her finish.
We make that call.
We'll let you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, did you have something else you wanted to?
No,
Oh,
that was
okay.
it.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Thank you for speaking
Thank
out. We appreciate it. Keep coming. We must have someone on Zoom. Brad.
Correct. Can you guys hear me?
Can hear you very well, Brad.
I live on 5 Mansion Road, right across from this project. And I'm curious, is the road has recently been paved, you guys have updated all that. We went over the plans and signed off on this. Is the reason why this is paved is for the future development of this neighborhood, or why it was pushed to be paved?
It's a requirement that a development does not, a housing development house does not come out on a dirt road. comes out on paved road. If it's not if, in this case, I don't know about Mansion Road being private or public. I mean, it's traffic for the public. But because the subdivision, the side of the road where you're living on, I'm believing, is part of the subdivision that was done, and that's the reason the road was paved, and that's the reason that the storage tank was put in just at the beginning of Mansion Road, was for fire suppression, for a water supply. And it wasn't paved for future expansion, or future development. It was paved because of prior development or ongoing development.
Okay, so the reason I'm just trying to look forward for all this. So since you guys have done that development, and I'm pretty sure you're the gentleman I spoke to about the grade issues I was having, since you raised the road 2 feet versus my original property level, and now all the water technically pitches right into my property, and now has just been flooding, swampland, kind of changed the drainage and the trajectory of water around this area already with the grade changes. And I'm just curious, again, with the development of all this, how much it's going to affect the people that have been living here in the houses that have been already developed before this is all approved, kind of thing.
So clearly, this, like,
I didn't realize the end of Mansion had been paved.
okay.
I didn't know that.
Which are there other, you talked about a hydrologic.
Yeah, study water flow,
Yep.
pre and post.
So you think it's a good idea to add a hydrogeologic survey?
Say what?
Do you think it's a good idea to add a hydrogeologic survey?
To address the
We're hearing a lot.
water flow off this development,
You're right. It's
prior to the development and post-development.
it's two people that have brought up water issues. So it's a concern for the people in that area, and it seems appropriate. Andy's stepping back up. I assume you have some
Yeah, I
sort of
just
answer
wanted
this.
to clarify a couple things. So
Let's go.
certainly as part of the stormwater analysis of this project, we will provide you with a pre-development analysis that shows what the stormwater does today. Prior to the development, we'll show you an analysis of what it does after the development. I think what Butch is getting at is a hydrogeo study or a nitrate plume analysis to look at the septic systems for the proposed lots and where their flow would go and if it would impact any of the butters' wells. I think that's what you're referring to?
Right.
Yeah,
So that and water too, though,
correct.
right?
Yep,
So, I think the question is.
Yeah.
So each one of these lots is gonna be, a test done on the lot, like say you went down 40 to 50 inches?
Two tests.
test pits for septics?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Well, and for water levels, just because we've had issues in the past, as you know.
Yep, yep, I think,
can't find any place that they're, anyways.
Yeah.
Should be some test pits.
I think that's a good step to take early in the process.
2 test pits per.
Yeah.
Yep,
And then for the next application, they usually come back with the whole thing laid out on a map anyway, where it says this is where it's going to go, this is where everything flows. So
Yes.
that'll at least show.
yes.
Alright.
We will certainly provide you with that, and then, sounds like you guys are interested in a nitrate plume analysis, which will
Right.
show the impact of the proposed septic systems, confirming that they don't impact any of the abutting wells, and vice versa. So we can certainly provide that as part of our application as well.
And then that puts it on the whole nitrate plume goes on the map, and it's an overlay.
Correct,
Oh,
yes.
it's like, yeah, got it. It's like one of the pages.
All right. So yeah. You got
I
it.
think that those are the.
Sorry to jump in, I just
No,
wanted,
no,
I
we
just wanted
appreciate,
to
no,
clarify.
that stops us from having to talk about it ad nauseum because you're just gonna do it, so, thank you. I don't know much, sadly, about like stop signs and yield signs and things like that. Where do those decisions come from? Those don't come from us, do they?
It's gotta be
I
DOT.
don't believe so. I think they probably would come from the road commissioner.
What I was gonna say, because they had just changed from a yield sign to a stop sign on the corner right down the street, it was a yield sign forever. We just changed it to, somebody changed it to a stop sign a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Talking about the Haley Road or the Pleasant Hill Road?
Yep.
I don't have any idea.
So we have a very strong road commissioner who will,
All that kind of stuff, yield signs and stop signs, has to do with traffic flow. And this is I believe Brad is on a recent development on the opposite side of Mansion Road from this proposed development, which has brought more traffic into the area. And there's traffic that comes down from further up. There's a lot of new homes been built there. So it's quite possible that the traffic flow now was gonna require a stop sign versus a yield sign.
And I think Butch kind of implied it earlier that, you know, if the board is so inclined, we could certainly provide a traffic study that would analyze the proposed 14 lots as part of phase one. How will those 14 lots affect that intersection?
Right.
And if it does impact that intersection, are there any improvements that need to be made, and maybe some improvements or some different signalizations, or there's something that needs to be done there? So if that's something the board would be interested in, we certainly could provide that as part of our preliminary subdivision as well.
Yeah.
Seems like a good idea.
A number of road trips is gonna come out of that road, probably
I would love to have actual
28,
numbers. You know what I
30,
mean?
or 40 a day, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be busy there.
Anytime that we can have actual numbers to rely on instead of the, you know, I feel like there's more traffic.
Oh, yeah,
That type of
absolutely.
stuff. So yeah, that's, we'll
Well,
figure out all the
there's
things.
graphs for all that. They're
Yeah.
looking for 14
Yep.
houses and make this many road trips.
Should we include the road commissioner on that? So that he can make a decision based on that
Well, the
study?
road commissioner will
Yes,
give
to-
us an opinion.
Yeah.
We should probably bring in,
He puts his piece in.
we should probably bring in SMPDC too.
Circle him in. So it's I didn't realize it was a yield sign now. I haven't
All right, stop focusing on that. Focus on the project, would you? All right, so traffic, the way the drainage works.
Yep. Pre and post nitrate plume.
Are we ready to review the sketch plan for comment, I guess, for approval, for comment? Do we-
I mean, I was still kind of talking to you guys, and I've just been
Oh,
sitting
well,
here.
Brad, please, go ahead. Sorry, apologies.
Yeah, the problem about the drainage issue and the water flow, and obviously the traffic is a big statement that everybody is worried about. But now with these natural streams and the natural water flow, with the DEP getting involved in the Army Corps of Engineers, I noticed with the flow going across the street from James's property, which directs some of those natural streams, which is to the right of my property, which I do have a ravine that flows through. I'm assuming this is going to affect all of our properties if you guys tend to re-engineer this natural stream of water flowage to accommodate for all these properties.
I'm gonna let
So
the
there's gonna be
experts
a
tell
lot
us. Yeah, I'm gonna let the DEP and the Army Corps of Engineers tell us. I'm not gonna try to make that judgment call.
Well, that's all I'm saying. There's going to be a lot of excavation, a lot of development, a lot of different strain on the areas where it could change a lot of the, I guess, natural life that's been happening here. Just kind of, it's a big development for a very small road. That I've documented this whole process. I have the whole installation of the new road. I've had cameras, the whole problems I've had with you guys, the drainage issues I'm having now. And again, you guys kind of just dumped 3/4 rock in my lawn. Didn't really even give me a nice edge. You kind of just did it in my driveway. There was no approval that you guys were even coming to do this, scheduled, or what the end result was of it. And my driveway still kind of looks like shit from this whole development, excuse my language, but I just see this progressing to be a bigger disaster for the people that have moved out here for the accommodations of the privacy and having this quiet neighborhood, which is now going to be developed into possible 25 lots, which again, 2 vehicles per house, plus extracurricular activities, ATVs, who knows. We're very popular in the area for it. So it's definitely going to be a huge change in this area for this to be approved.
So what would make it easier, I guess, for lack of a better, like what would, you know, we've already said we're gonna do these studies. Butch said it's a before and an after. Like what could make this more tolerable?
Not happening, but obviously we want you guys to dot your I's and cross your T's. There's only so much as residents in the area we can do, but for us, I definitely should make it accommodating for the residents that have been here prior.
What does accommodating mean?
You know what's gonna happen. I don't have to get into the details, so.
No, sir, I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay. You guys have been very humorous about this, laughing at the other lady that came up that was almost crying. It's kind of just been a slap in the face to the people that have lived around here, so.
Well,
Just my
I
opinion.
apologize if
Opinions don't get us anywhere.
Pardon?
I've been in this development. I've done excavation my whole life. I know what's going to happen in this. I've done this for a living, so.
So that is why we have public hearings, so people like you, experts, can tell us what your concerns are. That's exactly why
Hence
we're doing
why I'm
this.
speaking my opinion, so. It's only my opinion at the end of the day, though. But I see there's more than just me that feels this way, so.
Absolutely. That's why we've got a room full of people, which we never have. So, yeah, that you're right. People definitely have strong opinions about it.
All right. Thank you for your time, I guess.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you for joining us. Yes, come on up.
Hey everybody, my name's Emily. I live right across the street from where this road is gonna come in. We bought our property out there in 2016, about the same acreage. We put one house on it, specifically for that type of privacy and to try to keep that area of Hollis as pristine and protected as we could. I grew up here, I've lived here my whole life. I've watched it get pretty seriously developed, and so I would vote with Brad that, you know, anything we could do to reduce the number of homes, increase the acreage per home would be great. I do think that that road is tough. I bought land on that road specifically because it was dirt, and that's where I wanted to be, in the woods. So to put that number of houses across the street from us is definitely a concern. We paid a lot of money for where we are to be where we are. And we really appreciate our neighbors that we have. I would have some questions around what those plans look like. So, like, do we know that those lots have a 2-acre minimum? Can that be increased to 4? Cut down the number of houses? Like, how can we?
Can we make them increase it, or can they choose to?
Yeah, like how much control do we have over this process to say
We
if
have
you want to
zoning
put these
ordinances
houses
that
here?
say how, you know, what size acreage needs to be. We can't layer on extra requirements that
so
are
that's-
outside of the zoning ordinances.
That's what I'm wondering, because
Yeah.
even the point about the post office, like we don't have control over the post office, but we probably have some say as to how many people live in the town based on how many of these subdivisions we approve.
Yeah.
So if all of the Ts are crossed and the Is are dotted, do you have to approve it? Or do we have a final say in whether or not we want to put something out there?
I've never been asked that question.
That's come up a couple of times. So if all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, typically there's no reason for a project to be rejected.
If they're following the,
If they're following
Ordinances
all
that
the
are
rules
written.
and ordinances.
and those are the ordinances that were voted in by voters and approved by voters.
Sure.
And it's a very, I don't want to say straightforward, but it's a little bit of a process. If voters don't like something, and I highly encourage anyone that doesn't like it, there's a thing called a citizen's petition. It's an amazing piece that you go into the select board office. You want to start a citizen's petition to eliminate,
sovereignty.
yeah, for whatever you want to do. I started a citizen's petition for the food sovereignty ordinance.
I did for the funding of the library.
Right. So it's
You really can do these things.
it's a great piece for people like yourself that move to Hollis to not be surrounded by people and say, hey, look, I want to start a citizen's petition that gets rid of all ability to make a subdivision in the town of Hollis. Whether everybody agrees with it or not, you can start that petition. You get 200 and some odd signatures, and then the select board puts it on the ballot and the residents vote. And that's how you remove or add things to zoning ordinance if you're not the select board, when they can add and remove stuff to the ballot as they choose, or the planning board when we can suggest to the select board that stuff gets changed after we get a lot of input from residents. So if this type, and Brad seems like a great person to back you up on it, if subdivisions are something you don't enjoy in Hollis and you want to see less of, what's that?
I don't know if we can do that.
What do you mean?
It's inconsistent with state law. So,
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily opposed to subdivisions. I mean, Boulder Ridge is beautiful, right? I think that one was built very well. It's done very well.
Right.
It's mature now. I think that's great. We've had a lot of issues with van subdivisions in Hollis. So I'd like to be a little careful with, we bought our property from Van, so, I'm familiar with him. But I'm also familiar with stuff that's happened in the other developments that he's done, and including some of my neighbors, and the houses that they've had built. So I guess my main question for you guys, and I probably should know this, so I apologize for taking up the time, but what's the best way, and I know there'll be hearings, I'll be at them to try to keep up with it, but what's the best way to weigh in on the size of the houses,
Right
where
now.
the houses are going on the lots, like how long the driveways are going to be? Is the road going to be a private road or a town road for the subdivision? I know Mansion Road's a town road and you'll pave it, so that's fine. That was coming anyway. And that kind of stuff. So we just have these
It is through this
conversations,
process.
as we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is through this process. I highly recommend taking a peek at the subdivision ordinances because as we move through this process, we move through the actual ordinances. So you can see what's coming up. I will say things like where homes are going to be placed on the lots, the exact, what the driveway is exactly going to look like. Those things happen after planning. We're approving the subdivision as a whole. Then each individual lot is still an individual lot that a person buys, and they work with code enforcement. I believe, they work with code enforcement. So code enforcement is that final say, I would argue, on location and things like that. There are some things we can put in the conditions if the project was approved. And then there are some things that we wouldn't want, that wouldn't be, the purpose of a developer building a subdivision is to earn an income.
Sure.
Some people excavate, some people work in cannabis businesses, some people are developers. So we can only encroach so much on that piece of it too. As the process moves on, keep speaking up, keep telling us, send us emails, write us letters. I wouldn't make phone calls because I don't answer the phone, so I wouldn't do that one. But being at these meetings, and when you hear something and you don't understand it, that's the problem I have a lot of the times. Just say, please explain that to me. What would be better? It sounds like, that you came in and there was a large swath of land around your home that were undeveloped.
Yeah. Yeah, we're on the other side of the road, so, between myself and my neighbor up the street, we probably have 120 acres, just with 2 houses on it, right? Really nice. So
it sounds
it's
delightful
wonderful.
for somebody other than me, because I actually want to live on a tiny lot where I don't have to mow the lawn.
Right. And then so and if this was 8 houses, I probably wouldn't be here. But just because of the size of it, it is concerning. For what everybody said. So Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. I
it.
appreciate
Well,
it. Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Before you go, let me just tell you that our job up here as a planning board is to see that this development is put forward agreeable to all the regulations that the town has. That the roads are built to specifics, that there's a certain size house lot, that there's test pits, that there's wells and septics, and they don't contaminate each other and things like that. That's what we will do with this project. And when it's approved, the code enforcement officer will see that it's done properly. Code enforcement officer, road commissioner, different people, fire department. So they own the property, they have the right to develop it if they want.
Subdivisions
happens
are
a lot.
allowed in this.
And
in
that's
this
correct. And
zone.
the state has come down, and the state wants us to allow more and more building on smaller and smaller properties. So we're doing our best to hold the line here, but there's gonna be changes coming down the road. But rest assured that we're working as hard as we can to see that it's done right.
Okay, thank you. And then, can you guys confirm that these are 2-acre lots? That's how
It
I
is
read
2
that,
acre
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's all. Thank you.
Some are larger than 2 acres, but the minimum is 80,000 square feet.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Just want to make a quick comment. Mike Harnwas,
introduce
Select
yourself.
Board. Yep. I want to actually make a comment on a comment. I just want to make sure for people that are watching this later on YouTube or something to that effect, that this board, when I'm not sure, what was your name again, man? When Christy was talking, this board, I witnessed nobody on this board snickering or laughing at her while she was talking. And I just want to make sure everyone understands that did not happen in what I witnessed, and that if anything, it was just more of you listening intently to the story that she was telling. So again, when the video is happening, it's going to be on Christy. No one on this board, at least as I've witnessed, actually snickered in any way. Okay.
Yeah, and look.
Thank you.
Anyone who's come in front of us before, they know. Look, I may get a little bit of joy out of the things that I do when I contribute, but I certainly do not take things as a joke. I take what I do very seriously. I'm very proud of what I have done in Hollis as a planning board member, but the reality is that I laugh when I'm nervous. And when people are passionate about things, that does make me nervous. So try being part of my family. Like, that's way harder than this. So I appreciate everybody's patience with me, and know that no one's making fun of it. We're so grateful that there are people here, that there are people on Zoom. We beg to have people come out and tell us what they think. Oftentimes we have to make decisions on things that we don't know what people feel about them, because no one comes and tells us that. So when that happens, yes, it is true. The next thing you do, if no one shares, then I'm going to make decisions based on the fact that I want to live on a 2-acre lot with a lawn. So the most important piece of this is for people to come out, and if I'm a little bit goofy and silly and that makes people feel a little more comfortable about coming out and speaking up, then I'll take a little bit on the chin, that I was being silly. Apologies. I work a lot of hours. It gets late.
So I got a quick question. So I know when my husband and I moved up this way in 2002, when I was reading up on the building, all buildings going up, at that one moment in time, it was only 25 per year. How many now?
So citizens voted to repeal the growth ordinance? Growth ordinance. There used to be a growth ordinance in place. Citizens voted to repeal it in, I want to say 16?
That's what I was thinking too, 16.
I think 2016. There's
We've
Stuff-
had numerous meetings where that's been one of the topics. We are looking at, Butch put together a proposed growth ordinance for us a number of months ago now. And so we will be considering that and bringing that back in front of the voters, or bringing that in front of the voters in November. But I don't know how it came. I don't know how it came about. Butch, do you remember how the repealing the growth ordinance, like, was that a citizens initiative? Was
I
it a
don't-
select board?
I don't recall when the growth ordinance was repealed.
Yeah.
And just for future reference, like I said, we've been talking about this before. These were unofficial numbers because we were still missing some, but I think they got them in there. Since then, I don't think we've ever hit the growth ordinance cap that was in place.
Okay.
So just for numbers, because everybody likes numbers, we go July to July, July 1st to July 1st, or technically June 30th to July 1st. But for 2020 to 2021, there were 35 houses built. 21 to 22 were 40. 22 to 23, July 1st to July 1st, was 20. And then 23 to 24, July 1st to July 4th, was 17.
So if more people, more developers want to come Deerwander, Mansion, or all these other lands, you guys are just going to say, yeah, let's put this plan into place, build Deerwander, Mansion, and all of our small little roads completely up. I mean, we came from the city for
sure.
quiet.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I mean, Deerwander, it's been very, very quiet, and even the small developments that have been going up, and on Mansion, and now we're adding 20, 25 houses,
Yep.
maybe even 50 or whatever in that little development.
Yep.
It ain't going to be quiet anymore. It's going to be a mess.
Yeah. So again,
And like the stream in the back. I mean, we're on wetland, and when it comes spring, everything's melting. It goes directly right up. So, I mean, we have some land we can't even build on anyways. But what's going to happen with that? A natural running stream that's coming all the way through. We going to lose that too? I mean, this is just concerns, and more developers that want to be on Deerwander. If more land goes up, I mean, that's kind of not fair to the rest of us that came from noisy to quiet.
But what about?
And the road rage. Come on. The racetrack, the road rage. I mean, how much more is going to happen right on a nice, quiet street? Well, not street, but town road. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. But I mean, you got people that are coming out of the city and are mean as mean can be towards the rest of us. So it's just my concern.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Come on up.
I'm Christine. I'm a very sensitive person. So the environment I live in, I moved here going on 22 years, and it was quiet. We had like horses would drag and hay to the farms and stuff. It was really quiet. Now it's with the increase of cars, it is very noisy. And I have my video camera, like I said, every minute a car goes by, zoom, zoom, back and forth, and it's been crazy the last couple of summers. And but the reason too, I'm saying I'm sensitive. There's an old maple tree. That's what I'm passionate about, and it's beautiful in the fall. But when I'm not sure if it's caused it being sick, but when they cut all the trees, and actually they also took down an old apple tree, and I didn't see them do it until after the fact. In order to make a better view to come around Deerwander Road, Mansion on your right, and come in, there's a clear 100, I don't know how many feet, but a straightaway. So now what they do, they can come around once they make just around Mansion Road, they gun it. But I'm not sure if the cutting of the branches of that maple tree or all the gas fumes is killing it, and it's on town property. So I don't know whose responsibility is it my responsibility to get a tree doctor to look at it, to save it, or is it the town to look at it, and who's responsible for cutting it down?
I would, if it's on town property, the property owner would be responsible for whatever happens to it.
Not necessarily, because back in my hometown, my mom planted a couple of trees, and as they got bigger, she didn't like all the leaves and stuff because she was getting older, and she had a neighbor cut them down. He took the wood, and they were going to sue my mother. They're going to fine my mother for cutting down the trees, but she was older already, and she said, I planted them, I cut them down. I didn't plant this tree, and this tree is over, I swear, over 100 years old. But I'm, you know, even with the subdivision, are they going to look at the trees that may be affected by all this? So I, like I said, I don't know what what the issue with the maple tree is, and if I have to cut it down, I'll cut it down, but I don't want to be fined by the town because I touched it, you know, so I don't know what the rules are. I don't know if it's
So planning board isn't, we aren't responsible for enforcement of anything like that, so
correct.
I don't know.
I just need some guidance on who to speak with.
I recommend going over and chatting with one of the select board members, because they would have, you know, they're in charge of the whole town.
Okay, just-
Do we have any
like I
tree
said, it's not
cutting
my
permits?
property, and they cut
We
the
don't have
apple
any tree cutting permits required here, right?
No.
Yeah, they cut the apple tree down that they consider was mine. They wouldn't cut it down. They went and took it. I know it's old, but it fed the deer. That's why they call it Deer Wander Road. But the deer would come by and eat from the apples that fell from the tree, but it's no longer there. And thank you.
He's very good with plants and trees and grass that owns on the property. So, yeah, so he'd be a good person to talk to about it.
It's done right in big.
Yeah.
Century's dying out. These are kind of funky looking, so it's like, I need help. I don't think I see it in the fall. Beautiful, it's really red, but now it's really red.
On the website, ask the select board. On the website, just ask the select board. Type in, there's a little short paragraph on what you want, and it'll go to all of us, and we'll talk to you, okay?
Love it. More public comment. This is not your last chance. There, I know, there is another, we do schedule another public hearing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll have to do sidewalks and everything else.
Yeah,
There's
well, I
lots-
think that's.
Lots of stuff going on.
Yep, I think that, just making sure that we didn't have, I tend to interrupt, so I wanted to take a second and not do that. Nobody on Zoom? All right, thanks. So I think that our next order of business is, what is it?
4.8.
No, I was thinking it was Article 7.
Sketch plan for major subdivision.
Wait, what are you No.
I got page 10.
Great. I'm in Article 7.
You're in 6 point something?
No, I'm in 7.
7 point.
I'm in,
Oh, I thought it was 4.8.
I'm in subdivision.
Yeah.
I think that's just the intro.
You're probably
I
dealing with Article 5, I would imagine.
Yes, so the okay, so we need to find the application complete. Yes. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, great, thanks. My name's Greg Jones. I live, I'm in a butter for this project.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're looking at 24 potential units up there.
Well, we're looking at 14 potential units right now.
Okay, because the letter that you sent said that, I think it was like up to 24. Is that correct?
The developer has come forward with what we would probably call a phased plan. So in that situation, each phase is treated as its own application. goes through its own
Right.
application process. And so currently, what's presented in front of us is a 14 lot phase
Okay.
one of a proposed subdivision. Oftentimes when developers come in front of us and we notice that there is a lot of additional land around what, so if the developer had come to us with just a 14 lot subdivision, we would look at the plan and say, well, this property owner owns these additional acreages around you. What's the plan with that? This particular developer chose to come in front of us and show us what the potential long-term, given what the ordinances say today, and
Right.
what, so you do a space and bulk analysis, space and bulk, right? Space and bulk analysis, and it's a formula that says if you have this many acres, you can have this many house lots.
Yep, I understand.
Okay.
So our concern is, with the new road being paved, I don't know if for me, the traffic is as much of an issue, as the stream, right? There's a lot of wetlands back there, and there's that stream that I've hunted up there for years, and it goes all the way up to Edith Huey. And you're talking about approving a subdivision in that area with all of that, and what guarantees are we going to get that this gentleman follows all the rules when it comes to the wetlands and when it comes to the stream itself? This is a two-part question, because my other question is, well, maybe I'll let you answer that first if you have a second.
Yeah, so subdivisions, we put in place performance guarantees. So there's a financial impact to the developer, to the project, if they don't follow the ordinances or the conditions that we put on the application.
Okay. So, in theory, we can trust that the planning board is going to help make sure that the stream and the wetlands are protected as they're supposed to be. Is that a fair statement?
So we would we've been talking a little bit. This is not an area that I'm an expert at. So I'm trying to learn what types of, what can be done, what is done in situations like this.
Sure.
And I think that the survey, the different surveys that we've talked about, that's the beginning of that.
Yep. Okay, so it'll be, there's going to be more than one meeting on this, I imagine.
There'll be multiple meetings on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so my next question is that, and I don't know this gentleman, Mr. Hurdle. I've met him once. He seemed nice enough. He was walking through the woods behind my house, and I met him out there. And we got along fine. But my question is, has the planning board or the select board have a history of issues with Mr. Hurdle following the rules in his subdivisions?
So I think one thing that's important for people to understand, and I found myself in the exact same position as many of you, that was my very first question. This project is being presented by Van Hertel Senior, and that I believe that is Van Hertel Senior, right?
Yeah.
And,
That's the gentleman I met, yeah.
Yep. And it's my understanding that
We asked that question, and he is in good
that the
standing with
challenges
town.
that we've had are not with Van Hertel Senior as the property owner. So
Okay.
that so
Is
there
it
we
a
don't have a
fair statement
mechanism.
to
Yes.
say- It's fair to say that there have been some issues with him in the past. He's working with his son, I imagine, Junior, right?
But you don't know that.
No, I don't know that. That's why.
So
I'm
let's
asking.
not assume that that's the case.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So,
Because I don't know that, and that's why I say that.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Yeah. My other, and again, I don't know the man, but from talking to people around town, they know we're abutters, and we normally don't get involved in anything. We just kind of do our own thing. But it seems like a lot of them keep saying that there have been these issues with them not following the rules and then just going ahead and paying the fines because they can afford to pay the fines. instead of coming into compliance. And has that been an issue that you've noticed with this guy?
So as the planning board, we don't have any enforcement authority. So that is, the enforcement of these things don't come through planning board.
I get it.
Planning board is for planning, not for enforcing. So I can't speak to that.
It's a select board question, probably more so.
I believe it is a select board question. Of course, we are open to the public. We have received a lot of feedback as well, which was why that was one of the planning board members was their very first question. Was how could this even be in front of us? Because we have ordinances in place that say if you owe the town money, if you
didn't follow compliance on a prior build.
If there's a compliance issue.
If there was a compliance issue on a prior build, we directly asked, and Vanny Hurdle Sr. is in good standing.
I understand. Okay. All right, and
I can shed some light on that a little bit as well.
Sure. Okay.
We work for Van Hertel Jr. We work for Van Hertel Sr. Van Hertel Jr. is not involved in this project. This project is Van Hertel Sr. He's the only one involved in this project. So.
All right, I understand. I guess with the same name, sometimes you hear things. But
Look,
yeah. Okay.
This is a town of people that a lot of people have lived here for a very long time, and sometimes we ascribe characteristics to people because of who their parents are. So I just
yeah, that's a real thing. Okay, so okay, cool. So my last thing is I just kind of wanted to echo what I think it was Emily was saying. I know she lives across the street and up the road from us. You're talking a pretty big project. Relevant to if you're talking about the fact that we've had years in the past 4 or 5 years, we haven't had a year where they built more than 40 houses, I think is what he said, for the growth ordinance, which got repealed. So like 20, 25, 40. Now we're talking about 24 potentially in one piece of land.
24 on one piece of land, but 14 is what we're talking about today.
14, in either way, 14 this year.
Yeah, 14 this year.
Yeah. Okay, so phase 2, we'd end up with up to 24 residences back there.
That's the area, the space in bulk that is written into the ordinances right now would support 24 lots. Yes.
And based on new Maine state legislature, there wouldn't really be anything stopping from all of these people building ADUs afterwards.
Really?
Right. No, I get that too. Yeah. Yeah. The ADU thing is different too, but okay. So I guess I'm done asking questions. I just, I mean, me personally, I know I can speak for my wife too. We're kind of against the idea. Well, not kind of. We are against the idea of such a big project going in. And
I'm sorry. You just cut out. You're kind of against the idea of a what project?
Sorry, of such a large project all at once.
Thank you.
In our backyard, and I'm sure you can appreciate that.
Absolutely. I mean, a few people have mentioned, if it was smaller. So I can't imagine that anyone would feel better about it if they came in front of the planning board 5 times and ultimately got 24 houses, but came and did it in smaller sections, because then that just feels inauthentic to me.
I was going to kind of, without patting them on the back, at least appreciate the transparency of them basically showing their hand instead of coming in stages, once every 2 years, adding 5 more houses. So it gives.
No, I get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
It gives the planning board a little more, to go off of it. It explains to the residents, exactly what their plans are.
We can see the full vision to ask questions about water mitigation and fire response.
Yeah. I can say honestly that if there was 5 houses going in the back, that I don't think as many people would speak out against it.
It wouldn't even be here.
We do 5-house subdivisions all the time.
Right. So
Yeah.
the
and
fact
then,
that
and
they're-
then ones that are add-ons to those 5-house subdivisions a couple of years later. I mean, that's what we do see. So it's not suggesting that it is somebody doing something improper, but I think that is probably a financial choice. You know, you build
Right.
5 and sell 5 lots and build 5 houses, then you have the money to do the next 5.
Yeah, right. You don't make money until you get above a certain number of houses. I get that. I just,
Hey, you looking
for
for
the
a
record-
position on the planning board?
No, thank you.
Oh,
Not
come
right
on now.
But you know, this is really the first. You know, I mean, nobody. I don't know who asked for Mansion Road to be paved. We certainly didn't. You know, and then that was done, and it's fine. Like the road's nice, but then, you know, a subdivision this size going in that close to us, I'm naturally going to be against it. My wife's going to be against it. You know, maybe something smaller, but if there's nothing that can be done, I'll tell you this, is that we need to make sure, and I will attempt to assist to make sure that all of the stream and wetland stuff is handled appropriately, because it goes right through our property, that stream, you know?
So I guess one thing that I maybe don't understand very well, again, I don't have a stream running through my property, so I have a wet basement, but I don't have this problem. What is like worst case scenario and best case scenario in this situation? I think
well, I
I'm
would say
aware of
that's-
what is
that's
worst
more
case
of
scenario.
like
I think
a-
we've heard about it.
That would be a DEP question.
DEP
right?
question. Awesome. Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I know that the stream flows, you know, it goes into, ultimately, it flows into the Saco. But, you know, there's brook trout in there, there's wildlife and everything that depend on that stream. And that's all I'm saying, is that it just needs to be, it should be flowing after this project is done. It should be flowing just as clean and free as it is now, would be my thing, right? That makes sense?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
And I can shed a little bit of light on that. So as part of the permitting process, not only do we need permits from you guys at the municipal level, but we need the state permits.
Yep.
The state looks into, both the Army Corps of Engineers and the Maine Department of Environmental Protection are reviewing this project to make sure that we're not creating any impacts to this stream that are going to affect the wildlife that's in the stream, the downstream conditions. Army Corps of Engineers is making sure that we're crossing it with an adequate culvert that isn't blocking fish passage and animal passage through that culvert. So there's a much more detailed analysis of that that's done outside of the municipal level as part of our permitting for this project. So that'll be stuff that we'll be working on with the state as part of our approval.
So in order for the planning board to sign off on this subdivision, the state has to clear it first? Is that what you're saying as well?
That's what we usually want. We would, you know,
Yeah, so-
look, I'm not an expert on very many of these topics.
So a subdivision approval has a 3-step process. It has a sketch plan approval, a preliminary subdivision, and a final subdivision. Typically, developments work with the state between the preliminary and final subdivision stage. So we come forward with a design, we get some initial comments from the town, maybe we make some changes, we have a public hearing with the abutters, we get some input from everybody, then we make some changes, and then we go to the state, get the state permitting, and then come back to the planning board for the final approval process. So to shed some light to all the abutters that are here, this is a very lengthy process. I mean, we're probably talking a year and a half worth of permitting that's ahead of us for a project of this size.
Mm-hmm.
We meet every 2 weeks.
And those,
Yeah, no, I get it.
those permits,
And I don't want to begrudge anybody for trying to make money. You know, that's like, if that's his business, I'm not going to get down on him for that. I just, you know, as an abutter, I have some concerns, and you know, and it sounds like if there is nothing, if it will definitely go through ultimately in the long run, then that's fine. We'll have new neighbors, but we just want to make sure that it's done the right way is all.
Trust me, if there's one thing that I want is to make sure that this is done in the right way. This is the biggest subdivision that I've sat on the board and had come through. And look, I recognize I've been a resident of the town for 25 years. I'm a baby here. I'm a little tiny baby. And I respect the people that came before me, their opinions. And I also believe that change happens. And so we can either participate in the change by telling us how you feel about things, identifying things that I can go back and say, okay, now what is this? I don't understand this. What is he talking about?
Right.
That's how I believe these things should go. And tonight, these guys kind of have to just go along with me. But Greg will be back next meeting. And I'll be able to just be my usual self. So I think, I think it's very important. I respect everybody that came out. First of all, thank you for coming out tonight, because everybody has other things that they could be doing. So we very much appreciate the attention to what's going on in your backyard. For a planning board member, the entire town's our backyard. So we are getting a lot of input from a lot of people at times. And it is a little bit disheartening to me at times, the amount of not in my backyard. Anybody that lives in a subdivision in the town of Hollis was not living in the subdivision in the town of Hollis at some point, and an approval of that subdivision happened, or the approval of your single family residence happened, and you moved into Hollis. Maybe it was 200 years ago when your grandmother did it, but
it was on somebody's hunting land.
Yeah, it was right. And so for me, it is about making it as palatable as possible to everybody, a new resident and a resident that's been here forever. And also, it's very important to me to take into consideration different people's choices. We just said, you love living on 60-something acres, I think you said. It's between you and your neighbor, it's 120 acres. That is...
me, no.
No. I'm sorry, Emily, right?
Okay.
Woman in the audience. I want to live on a 0.75 acre that I can pay someone to mow my lawn, or use one of those little mowers that you don't have to use gas. That's what I want. I want to live across the street from a lady friend of mine that's got kids my own kids' age, whose husband will make sure that I don't get murdered because I'm a single woman. People are different, and one of the important things about a town is to have things available for all those different people, even the wacky ones like me. So that's why folks might see me as being very like pro developments and all these things. It is, first of all, there's a housing crunch. I don't know how else to describe. Where do people think people are going to live? As long as it's not next to me, I don't know how to balance that out. Population rising. The state is telling us they're limiting our ability they're limiting our home rule ability to make decisions about what development looks like in our town.
And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to be more and more.
Well, until we revolt.
Yeah. We're 80 votes away. So it's the state's already told us that we can't limit how many houses we can have on a lot. The state's come in with LD 2003 and said you now have to allow 2 houses on a vacant lot. The state's also said that you now have to allow ADUs on every single lot, as long as they can meet setbacks.
And
so
I think they
those
just did a
were
no growth cap.
Those were choices that the town citizens didn't make.
Right.
We as citizens didn't go, hey, at the ballot box, we want to allow 2 houses on each lot. We want to allow ADUs on everybody. That's something that the state overruled us and said we had to do. So it's sounding pessimistic. It's only a matter of time before they add more to that and shrink the lot sizes. They're already talking about shrinking minimum lot sizes in growth districts down to 5,000 square feet. that's something that's actively being talked about. Obviously, it'll be workshopped and changed till then. But they're working one way, and Hollis residents, I feel, want to work the other. But I'd love to see more of it at the ballot box, where you can decide. So the growth cap that Butch was talking about, Heather was talking about, if that seems like something that interests you, I highly suggest coming to all the public hearings we're going to have about it. Trying to cap growth, or if it's something that you don't like, then obviously come out and speak the other way. But I feel like a lot of the people that spoke up tonight aren't happy about having more development in Hollis, and that seems like one of the most realistic ways to kind of slow down that growth, if that's something that you're interested in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I appreciate you guys' time. Thanks for letting me speak.
No, we appreciate you. Absolutely. Anytime you want to talk, we're always here.
Okay.
Tommy especially loves to talk.
I like to talk.
Call him. Do we have any more public comment?
Should we motion out of public hearing and into sketch plan review?
Yep.
I motion to move on from public hearing and on to sketch plan review if no one else has public comment. Say your piece.
For tonight. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Just discussion on the motion. Oh, yes. Yes. I'm sorry, Matt? Brad. Oh, hey, Brad.
So, just to finalize on all this, I just kind of, again, been going over everything. I agree with everything the last gentleman said. I think he nailed it on the head. He said it in a lot more professional opinion than I did. But truly, at the end result of this, are all the neighbors and the conjoining people that are on the property of this development going to have say in this before it does get a final approval?
If they come out and
Or at least
speak, yeah.
Or at least a vote to have their say and not push this forward.
There's no voting on development in Hollis. We vote on the ordinances. We don't vote on specific developments.
You will have an opportunity to voice your opinion to the builders and the planning board and press any concerns that you feel maybe aren't up to zoning ordinance that the planning board can take action on. But otherwise, it comes down to if they dot their I's and cross their T's. We can ask for contingencies. I have a couple requests maybe that we can discuss because I've heard tonight there's a lot of comment on prior builds. Doesn't matter who it is here in Hollis. Ever since I've been on the planning board, almost every development has had complaints about. I've heard in my piece, maybe not every development. Every development I've heard has had complaints about water. And I see a lot of wetland. I see a lot of building lots right next to the wetland. I think it's fair to say that we should be concerned based on what's been going on the last couple of years about the water and have some special requests for some special surveys. So we're hearing you, and I think we'll try to take action on that.
So, as I asked earlier, the DEP and the Army Corps of Engineering are going to get approval on this, and I'm assuming have a rendering of where or what's going to happen to all the previous wetland and respecting all the nature that does exist?
Yes.
All right.
So this is just sketch plan review. This is just saying, yeah, you brought a clear application and a clear sketch plan. The next step, they need to do the state permits, and then after that they have to come and say, hey, we got all our state permits, here's everything that they've said. And if we said, hey, we want special surveys on water displacement, are they gonna put a pool in somewhere that's gonna collect rainwater, stormwater, runoff water, where is that gonna be? So they have to come with a final plan that fulfills all of our contingencies as well.
All right. Thank you for that. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Okay, last call. I didn't mean last call. I think
Do I have to re-motion, or we just?
Yeah, I would re-motion just for the.
I motion to move on from public hearing and on to sketch plan review for the the sketch plan of the 24 lot subdivision.
14 lot.
The application is named sketch plan application
Oh.
24 lot subdivision.
Wow. Wow.
Second.
Any discussion? Nick, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 All right, so I believe it's Article 5.
Oh.
Oh. Oh,
Uh,
yeah, we'll take it.
Okay.
This one.
Again, this was proposed for a 14 division. You guys just approved a 24.
No, we didn't approve any, we approved closing the public hearing and moving into sketch plan review.
the sketch plan is named a sketch plan application 24 lot subdivision. The sketch plan we have highlighted is 14 lots that they want to build on, but they've sketched out 24 for a total if they were going to build 24. But right now, this plan that we're voting on is for 14.
We're not voting on a plan. We're
Voting a
voting to find an application complete. The sketch plan. We're to find the sketch plan application complete, or sketch plan complete.
So one of you just said to bind a sketch plan for a 14. One of you said to bind it for a 24.
It's the difference between what something is titled and what the number of actual lots that the developer is proposing to develop. So on the piece of
Trying to
paper
make
in the
this clear.
title box, it says 24 lot subdivision. But the highlighted in yellow is only 14 lots. And we have been asked to review the 14 lot build, not the additional
Phase 1.
10. Yes, it's phase 1. It's a phased application, is what they call it.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
So each phase will have its own same process. We'll go, someone will go through it multiple times.
Well, hold on. The application does number of lots or units is 24 lots to be developed in multiple phases, and this
Right.
is for 14.
But we're only approving phase 1. We're not approving,
building.
well, we're not approving anything. We're approving a sketch plan. I'm not, so on this sketch plan, there are 24 on here. I'm only looking to make comment on the first 14. I'm not making comment on the other, because we don't know in, well, that's a good question. That's probably a question for the lawyer.
The application says 24.
Right, but what, so we do 14 and then the ordinance changes. Is the next section,
Is
Is
this
it-
next section approved? No, we've approved.
no, it's not approved.
We've approved the first section.
It's not approved, but what ordinances does it fall under? Does it fall under today's or does it fall under 5 years from now?
If it's not approved, it's not approved.
Yeah, it would be 5 years from now because we're looking at just the 14. Because if it's a whole new application process for the 2 and 3, I would think that it would be
I'm gonna
with the
ask,
new laws. I would ask.
I'm gonna
but-
ask for attorney confirmation of that.
Thank you for clarifying that. I just want everybody to hear this so we're all on the same page as neighbors, so.
Absolutely, absolutely. And at some point, my guess is that the property owner will give this proposed subdivision a real name, a grown-up name, and we won't have to refer to it as a X number of lot subdivision. But I am going to check that on the phased approach. I think this is the first phased I've seen too. So, and I'm 100, so feel like I've been here forever. So, this is heavy. This is a lot. I can certainly respect the concern that something this size, it does feel, it feels big for Hollis in terms of our ability to just accept it. So let's get through this. I believe it is, is it Article 5? Yeah, so Article 5, the submission section, 5.2, I believe. So I'll just, I guess, read these out and we'll discuss. The applicant shall demonstrate proof of ownership or interest in the property.
They are named on the deed. I did find it.
Here.
So part of the original package.
Yep.
Yep.
The sketch plan shall show in simple form the proposed layout of the streets, lots, buildings, and other features in relation to existing conditions.
It does.
Yep. It needs to say sketch plan and it needs to be dated.
It
says-
is?
Yep. It needs to be accompanied by a copy of the assessor's map on which the land is located.
It is.
It shall be accompanied by a copy of the topographic map, USGS, showing the outline of the proposed subdivision.
It did have that as well.
It is.
Yep. A copy of the soil map from the USDA Soil Conservation Service survey.
It is there.
I didn't see that. Did,
It
You
is.
didn't?
okay. You got it? All right. It's got to be in here somewhere. I didn't see it. Oh, yep. Got it.
It's just got a bunch of weird,
Yep.
you know, HEB, HMB, that type of.
10 copies, or, I mean, doesn't really. 10 copies were received, or we received, yes, the board received 10 copies. And this one's a little lengthy. The sketch plan shall show.
There's another question.
Oh, well, we're gonna get through this first. And then we'll take a question. The sketch plan shall show as a minimum, in simple sketch form, the layout of the streets, lots, buildings, and other features in relation to existing conditions. It shall show site conditions such as steep slopes, wet areas, and vegetated cover. And it shall describe or outline the existing conditions with a full description of the proposed development. There is no common area, so it goes on to say, the narrative should include general proposals for how any common areas and infrastructures will be managed and maintained. What is the plan for the road here? Private?
Yes, it will be a private road.
Okay.
They can petition the town to accept it, but it won't be until after it's built out and done.
Yep. Would the town accept it in phases, like it would potentially be built?
I really don't know. That's something that the homeowners association would come to the selectmen with that proposal.
Okay.
And they will put it on a warrant.
And road commissioner would be part of that?
Yeah, he would
Yep.
be part of it.
Okay. All right, and it shall be accompanied by a contour interval and on-site inspection. So, if we approve the sketch plan,
Did you miss F?
huh?
All subsequent submissions shall contain notations.
Oh, yes, I did, because this is the first submission, so how would we determine it a substitute?
Added this tonight. Or is that added to the application, or is it just added for our?
I consider this to be the sketch plan.
Yeah, I think it should be
So
added.
this was added
Yeah.
tonight.
This highlighted one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should go in part of the plan, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So this should list a this should have a listing noting all the changes, right? Based on the requirements?
Changes to what?
Exactly. What were the changes between this and the original sketch plan? This was just given to us tonight.
With the original sketch plan, we never reviewed.
They're just highlighting phase one on that.
There's no changes to it, it's just the coloring that was added to make it clear for you guys to understand what we were doing.
The same thing.
Same plan, just added the coloring to help you guys understand what we were doing.
Okay.
Phase one of the plan.
Because yeah, this was the original submission here. The 10 copies.
Yep. So weird. So, if we do approve the sketch plan,
Can I say something?
of course, Butch.
I think we should not use the term approve, we should use the term find the sketch plan complete.
Find complete, okay, I was
No.
using approve because that's what's written in
I
the ordinance,
understand, but
but I will certainly. If we find the sketch plan complete, we then will schedule a site walk, and determine and inform the applicant of the required contour interval to be included on the preliminary plan, the next plan. We may hold an on-site inspection. I recommend that we do hold all of those things, so that's a site walk. And there's some rules what the applicant or the developer needs to do prior to an on-site inspection. And then I think that we could go over any, I mean, would we do, finding it complete, we can still put, it's not conditions now, is it?
no, but I think we could talk about a couple of things. In that book, it tells us within 30 days of
Mhm.
finding an application complete, we'll do a sidewalk, we'll do this, that, and the other, and all these things. It doesn't sound to me like they're on a fast track with this program.
Yep.
And if we do a sidewalk, they're supposed to have the center line of all proposed roads flagged and corners, major corners and things like that. I don't know if they're ready for that or not.
If the personally, I like to do a site walk earlier in the process. I think it's beneficial to us and to you guys to do it earlier in the process. But whatever you guys are, however you'd like to handle it. If you'd like to do a site walk when we submit the full application, we're fine with that. I can be ready in a couple days. So as long as you're not doing it tomorrow, we could have everything out there that
You
you
flag
need.
the center line of the road?
Yeah.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, well then.
I'm not sure that that is though the right. So so as a board, do we have any proposed changes that we want to see?
I would like to ask for something that would make the town feel better about the water mitigation in this development. I mean, like I said, I see a lot of wetlands. I have wetlands on my land. It can affect a lot of people, especially when there's a lot of houses, and there's already a lot of houses, it sounds like, close by, and there's been a lot of people affected over the last couple of years by these types of builds. I'd like to see something
Do you have
provided.
an idea of what something?
That's where I come at a loss. Maybe you have a good suggestion for us of something that will help us make the town feel more comfortable, ourselves and the abutters, on water mitigation, water control.
That's all something, I think, that's gonna come down the road when they come back in for a preliminary plan and things like that. They're gonna have these kind of things for us.
But won't most of DEP just kind of say, like, here's the result? It doesn't really provide any possible solutions.
No, they provide solutions.
They do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very
Yeah,
expensive solutions.
the level of review that the town does is very small compared to the level of review that the DEP does as part of their review process. So when we submit our preliminary subdivision plan, like Butch said, we'll have a stormwater analysis that meets your ordinance, meets all the requirements that your ordinance has, shows the impacts of pre-development, post-development, the impacts to wetlands, how we're protecting the wetlands, how we're protecting the streams. That'll all be spelled out on our preliminary plans for you guys to review.
And any permits required, we will have in
Yeah.
hand before we approve the subdivision.
Correct.
That'll be
Yep.
part of the.
Yeah, we'll have,
approval
like the
Yeah,
DEP.
Our
will sign off.
our intention would be to come to you guys, work through the preliminary subdivision stage, then go to the DEP and Army Corps, get those permits, and then come back to you for final
For
approval.
final.
That's our preferred approach. It just works the best that way for everybody. So the DEP process at this point is extremely slow. So that's why I said earlier, we're looking at a year and a half approval process for a project like this. I mean, they're probably gonna take 7-8 months alone to review and approve the project, so.
And I think I understand DEP will give us solutions. I think the only thing that I would say is still concerning for me is that they approved prior builds that have caused issues for people. And like I said, I don't know what type of surveys. I'll do a little bit of research, maybe try to find something that will make people feel more comfortable. But the truth is that either they missed or prior builders missed. And town deserves a little bit better than that.
We will provide analysis that meets the town standards of what you guys require
Correct, yes.
for a subdivision review.
So does it make sense to schedule a site walk before a preliminary is in place?
Yes.
This, when they're talking about 7-8 months from now.
Well, that was my point that I was bringing
Right.
up. You know, but when we find a complete application, that puts a time
I was
restraint
gonna
on
say,
it.
it starts the timer.
Unless we have an agreement,
Right,
okay?
right.
So,
If the board were to move forward with granting this sketch plan application complete, my guess would be within a month or so, we would come back with a preliminary subdivision application for you guys to move forward. So you could choose to either have a site walk once you get that full application. If you guys would like to see all the materials before you go look at the site, we can certainly go that route. If you'd like to do it now and get a preliminary look before we do the design and would like to give us some input before we jump into the design, that's the benefit of doing it now.
And it's summer.
Yeah.
Test pits.
Yes.
What about test pits?
We have not done them yet. That's in the works right now.
I would like, when I take sidewalk, I'd like to see test pits.
Okay.
And if I can make a request,
Sure.
I'd like you to use blue flagging
Blue flagging on the test pits?
on everything.
On everything?
Yeah.
Gotcha. But I can tell you this, the wetlands have already been flagged.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what color they've
that's
used.
fine.
But those have already been
I
flagged.
can see a blue flag in the green forest, but I can't see a red flag in the green forest.
Gotcha.
I'm a walking red flag, so.
Not a turkey hunter.
And the test pit analysis also.
Yeah, so if you'd like to see the test pit analysis before we do the site walk, maybe
Yep.
it makes sense to wait until we submit our preliminary application.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I'm feeling that, that we don't need to rush on the site walk.
Wait for the preliminary, and then make a public hearing and preliminary, and then you can do a second public hearing if we want for the final.
We can do public hearings whenever we want.
Yep.
So I think that, got a little bit away from the finding the application complete. We went through the, Tommy suggested that we also just quickly run through 4.8, which are the goals. These are not binding requirements, but let's be thorough.
4.8?
Yeah, 4.8. It's the goals of the sketch plan for major subdivisions. First one is confirm that the application is complete.
We laugh every time.
I know.
It's just-
We did receive the fee payment, Ashley. We did, great. And did we start an escrow account? No escrow yet. All right, well, good things these aren't binding. So I have a suspicion, as I've been pondering the subdivision regulations, this is one of the items that we are going to look at for streamlining and making sure that it aligns across different articles of the single, the single regulations. And I think this is one of them where the escrow account, a lot of that comes at the preliminary, whereas I was thinking that it should come, and some of this is written as if it should come right here.
Right.
Number 2, the abutters were notified that an application has been received. We haven't heard anybody say that they weren't notified. The applicant and the developer presented the board with a sketch plan showing the geometry of development. We know the next one, number 4, is establish whether the development will be a cluster, PUD, or a standard subdivision. This is standard. Identify any major impacts that affect the planning, layout.
You get 5.
I skipped 5. Oh, confirm the status as a major subdivision. That's 4 and up, right?
Yep.
This is more than 4 at phase 1. Identify any major impacts that affect the planning, layout, and development of the land.
We talked about extra surveys, which will also be.
Okay, but what are the
kinda
major
hitting-
impacts of it? So
Water.
potential water.
Yep.
Stormwater.
Traffic.
Drainage.
Traffic.
Those are the major impacts.
The road.
Yep.
Identify special submittals that will be required for the next level of application. That's where we got the,
Stormwater surveys, pre and post, nitrate plume,
traffic survey.
traffic. Yep.
Identify the level of review that will be required for the next level of application. What is level? of
Preliminary. So
Okay.
next level review is preliminary.
Yep. And advise whether to prepare alternative development scenarios before proceeding to the next level of review, or to prepare an application. I think the applicant has told us that they are going to come back with
Right.
additional alternative, I guess you could call it, development scenarios. Schedule an on-site inspection. and forward the comments from board members to the file and to the applicant. So I guess I would ask for the applicant's agreement to hold on the 30-day site walk timing. Yeah, the 30-day site walk timing. Would the applicant be willing to?
Yes, just for clarification, that's 30 days from the sketch plan review?
From
the board has to have the site walk?
Yes, that's
Or that's
what,
30 days from when we file our preliminary subdivision
no,
application?
30 days from sketch plan, so that's what we're trying
Yeah,
to.
I'm cool with,
Okay.
we're cool with whatever timeline you guys want to follow for the site walk is
So we gotta do
great with
2?
us.
So I guess we would say
So
2
that-
site walks?
Because we were
Well,
gonna
we
do
want
one
the-
after he applies with the preliminary plans,
Yeah, we want the preliminary plan first.
which means we would
First,
give him a waiver on the 30 days,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, well, we have to both agree. So we both parties agree to waive the 30-day site walk and agree to schedule a site walk after preliminary application.
You agree, sir?
I do, yes, thank you.
All right. Discussion?
I would make a motion that we find this sketch plan complete.
Can we put the wording in there? We're finding the sketch plan complete for the 24 lot subdivision for the phase 1, specifically phase 1,
Fine with me.
right? Because that's
So
what we were talking
moved.
about tonight. Second.
Any discussion? Nick?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
The sketch plan has been found complete. I think the developer applicant has some marching orders. We will have additional public hearing at the next phase of review, which is the preliminary plan. Does anyone have anything else they wanna? And then after the preliminary plan, there is another final plan review. So this is, as we said, this is gonna take some time. And we don't know what some of these reports are gonna find that they will have an impact on what else needs to be changed and updated. Are we good on this one? All right, we are good on this one.
Can I shut this air conditioner off? I can't even
Yeah.
keep control of my papers.
Papers under control.
You still have somebody holding on?
Oh, there's somebody on Zoom.
Oh, yes, sorry, oh, Jesus. I'm sorry, that was Brad, right? I'm sorry, Brad.
I think that's on.
We
Yeah,
have
you
not
got it.
closed that, we have not closed out.
This is the second time this evening. Yeah, so again, you weren't clarified if this is for the 14 or the 24 approval.
We're gonna ask the town attorney for their opinion, so that we make sure that we properly reference it. And just so that you know, generally, public comment is only allowed during the part of the meeting that is public comment, and we're actually extending that. So, just so
And I
that you're aware of the
appreciate that.
procedure.
I find the respect for the two gentlemen on the end, the one in the plaid shirt and the one that I don't know your names, and I'm sorry for that. He basically talked about the wetlands himself and how this is going to affect it, but I appreciate you guys looking into it in the thorough investigation that this, as you guys call it, a binding for the 14 property, not the 24.
Yes, phase 1 of, we have found the sketch plan complete for phase 1, 14 lots in this proposed subdivision. That's correct.
So just to, again, gentleman in the plaid flannel, I appreciate you looking into this. He kind of saw that was noted that it was for 24 and it just got rephased, or it was for 14 and just recently got rephased for 24?
No, it was
If
for
I-
24, and they broke it
correctly.
up into 3 phases.
It came
Okay.
in.
Just
It came
clarifying
in.
for all the neighbors and other adjoining property that this is where this meeting is finalizing.
This meeting has found a sketch plan complete. It's the first, it's not, he could have brought the sketch plan in on a napkin. A sketch plan is not to any kind of standard. It's not, it doesn't have to be engineered. This particular developer chose to put together a more professional looking sketch plan than what, I mean, our ordinances say right in it. It doesn't have to be engineered.
Yeah,
Can be
so
drawn.
it says
Hand-drawn.
the sketch plan does not have to be engineered and maybe a freehand penciled sketch. So I think everyone is on the same page that it is a 14 lot. They've just not named it yet. Normally, on sketch plan on the bottom, Ken might be able to zoom into that, but where it says 24 lot subdivision, it usually has a name in there, but where it's just a sketch plan, and they're nowhere near being able to start doing anything, and we're not approving their ability to start doing anything except for more research into what we need done before they can get to that next preliminary step. So that next preliminary step, it'll have a real name. It won't be called 24, but it will still, I assume forever, Andy, show 24 on there, but
Our intention coming forward is to just show you what we're proposing, so
Okay.
I think the preliminary plans you'll see will show 14 lots.
we'll just show 14.
Correct.
Okay.
We just showed those to you, so it was transparent what could be done on the property.
Okay.
Knowing that you guys would probably ask us if I showed up with a plan that
such a
had
double-edged sword.
land all around it, you would have said, what are you guys gonna do with it? So
It's
we
a
wanted to
double-edged
show
sword.
you guys what we could potentially do with it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Brad, you got anything else, man?
No, thank you for your time. I appreciate you just finalizing that again, because you guys were about to bind a 24. It is just the binding of a 14 to push this forward. I appreciate your time. I'm sorry for the inconvenience if I've caused it.
You have not caused a second of inconvenience.
Not even
Thank
not
you
even a
for
second.
coming out tonight, Brad.
We appreciate people that are paying attention.
We're here every other week. You can come anytime.
No, I appreciate it. So I come from an excavation background. I left the job for this particular reason because of how it destroys just huge lots of land like that for house properties. I used to dig house lots for a living, and hence the reason why I don't do it anymore. So
Yeah.
I appreciate, again, your time, your loyalty, and for the town of Hollis.
Thank you. I think we do have public comment on the agenda. I think we've exceeded our public comments, period. Unless anybody has additional public comment.
Motion to move on from public comment.
Yeah, so plan for our next meeting. I don't think we have any new applications. I'm not aware of any today. And most new applications, we might have one. We might have one come back, a plan that we had approved the sketch plan of. I'm not even sure. We may have one for our next meeting, we may not. We'll know in a couple days. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, Ashley Dow, our new planning board secretary, she has been working diligently behind the scenes for a couple of weeks now. This is the first time that we've had the opportunity to get to see her face to face. Welcome, thank you. You came in, you just jumped right in, both feet. And I know, those of you that know that I was doing the secretarial work, the administrative assistant work, for a while and was really struggling with it. Thank you, my God, thank you. These guys, thank you, I thank you. Oh, relief. We know that now things will be a little more ordered. And at that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
No move.
Second?
Second.
Everybody say.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
We are not workshopping tonight.
No.
No, I'm telling you.
Motion
Thank you,
adjourned. We're
Chair.
good. Thank you.
Madam Chair.